Hi, everyone. This is Pinar Ormeci. I'm the CEO of Timus Networks. And today I have with me Leo Bletnitsky, the founder and president of Healthy Technology Solutions here. Hi, Leo.
Hi there. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for making time for us. This is something that I really enjoy doing, both with the MSPs and MSSPs within the sector, but also sometimes with our fellow ecosystem vendors who are channel first. So this is really an informal chat. I just like asking questions, really love learning about how some of the service providers and IT consultants go about doing things. So Leo, how do you choose your customers? Are there certain verticals that you go after, or how do you choose your clients?
So, I mean, ultimately they choose us, but when we're seeking clients, we focus on healthcare organizations and then construction, engineering, architecture, and the trades. Those are really the two areas we focus in. But we have clients that are in legal, that are in real estate, that are in retail. So we work with everyone, but we specifically are targeting both the healthcare sector as well as the construction, engineering, architecture sectors.
I see. And do you think there are some differences between those sectors versus others in terms of, I guess, compliance is one, but also security, right? Especially, I can assume in healthcare.
So, I mean, everyone needs security, but from a compliance standpoint, healthcare is definitely different. So it's healthcare and really the defense industry. Those are and banking. Those are the ones that are very, anything to do with finance, health,
Yeah.
or defense. Those are, much more regulated. HIPAA is where we, really focus.
Sure.
Our construction engineering clients, their data is just as important to them. Just if they lose it, no one's going to find them.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was reading this article in Seattle Times, and what it was saying is that like healthcare companies disproportionately are getting hit by ransomware because the hackers figured out that because healthcare usually needs to be open, especially hospitals, 24/7, so they cannot have any type of off time and they have to be running always on. They tend to pay ransomware much easier and faster compared to some other sectors. Of course, getting hit by a data breach is horrible for everyone, but there's also for healthcare, they have to be on. So that was interesting for me to read.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But when you're talking about ambulatory, meaning like the doctor's offices, surgery centers, where they're not 24/7, oftentimes, they don't really want to pay. And in most cases, if their IT is set up correctly, they won't need to pay. But now there's the secondary ransoms where now we have your patient data. If we've exfiltrated, now we're going to ransom the patients directly. And we have a perfect example literally across the street from our office.
Wow.
Where someone was compromised and and it's plastic surgery practice, so very sensitive photos before and after with faces, and they are, they now have a class action lawsuit plus FBI investigation plus Health and Human Services Office of Civil Rights is investigating. So that's a nightmare scenario. It'd be a nightmare for us. I'm just thankful they're not a client.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, you bring such a great point because a lot of the times, sometimes the thinking is around the immediate hit, like, hey, ransomware, and it costs us certain money, and then maybe our cyber insurance premiums will really increase a lot. But then all these secondary concerns, right? Like once you get hit, your patient data, your pictures, and there's all these repercussions. Or in some states, you have these data forensics law or privacy laws where you have to inform all of the customers who got breached. So you need to do super expensive data forensics and spend so much time, effort, and money on those, right?
Yeah, in most cases, businesses can't, especially smaller businesses, can't afford that. And I would say more than half don't have cyber insurance. And then if they have cyber insurance, was there a material breach in that cyber insurance policy? Meaning, did they say that they do something that they don't do, which means they lied on the policy, which means they have no policy.
Yeah.
So they're going to get an invoice from the insurance company rather than a check because once that forensics audit is completed and they go, you said that you have anti-malware on all the computers, but 20 of your 100 computers didn't have it.
Yeah.
That means that you lied on your application, which means your insurance is null and void.
Yeah,
And
actually,
you're-
I was at a seminar around the cyber insurance, and exactly true. Like cyber insurance companies are really pushing back, if like you said, like there's not 100% compliance to what they promised that they were going to do, and a lot of the times, yeah, they end up like not paying because it's the client's fault.
Absolutely. No, and on top of that, if you're a healthcare organization, HIPAA comes in and gives you fines. If you're in a state that has a data privacy law, which is most states now in the country, I know Nevada has it, California has it, Florida has it. Now the state attorney general can come after you. And on top of that, you have to buy credit monitoring for all your employees and past employees and potentially clients or patients. So, if you have 1,000 employees, that might be, you have to buy, that for 5,000-6,000 people, because it's all your employees plus their families that are covered by health insurance,
Yeah.
plus former employees and their families. So it can be extremely expensive.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are really great points that you are making, Leo. When you're talking with your clients, then, and especially explaining this zero trust network access, right? The ability to protect data wherever the employees are accessing the corporate resources from. Is it an easy value proposition to explain, or are they like, where are you in that journey?
It depends on the maturity level of the company. So when we're talking to if a company's big enough to have an IT department, and we're talking to someone that's an IT director, a real IT director, not just, the receptionist boyfriend that was hired because he knows computers better than anybody else, then it's an easier conversation, because, the alternative for distributed organizations is VPN, regular VPN, site to site or client to site. Well, that just creates additional openings for each company. So however many people are connecting, those are additional places where the companies are vulnerable. And most small organizations don't understand that.
Yeah.
Our two offices are connected, it's fine. Well, but then someone connects from home from their kid's computer, and they're using, regular VPN, and you don't know what's on those computers. And most regular VPN tunnels don't protect anything. They just securely connect.
Yeah.
And they're a secure gateway for bad stuff to get into your network.
Exactly. I mean, once the hacker gets in, it's like, oh, like they have a field time, right? It's like keys to the kingdom. Like, let me go and do whatever I want with the payroll data, the customer data, the patient data. Yeah, definitely. Another question I was asking is, so how do you see the market evolving in terms of maturity? Like in 2-3 years, do you think it's going to be kind of the enterprises where everybody will be like, oh my God, absolutely, I need zero trust network access. All the VPNs will need to be replaced. Like, how do you see that?
There will be more of that, but it's not going to be across the board, because still you have, especially in healthcare, they don't want to spend money on those things that don't enhance patient experience.
Yeah.
And they look at these things as necessary evils. Some of the providers medical providers we talk to, they say, we'll worry about HIPAA when it has teeth, or we'll worry about HIPAA when the government funds it for us. So that's not a great way to look at it, because they're really putting their businesses in jeopardy. But I think the more we talk about security, the more there are publicized breaches. Whether it's the big hospitals, there's recently a disruption in the pharmacy networks, for a major provider. So military members couldn't get prescriptions. That's a major problem.
Wow.
So those type, MGM here in Las Vegas, the MGM got breached. 2 weeks after that happened, I was in going to an event at one of the casinos. Walking through the casino, half of the video machines, the gaming machines, had pretty much blue screens.
Wow.
So they were still down. They were not fully functional a few weeks later. And we're talking about, a Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 company with tens of thousands of employees and a real IT department, real, top level professionals, and they still weren't up and running.
Yeah. And actually, if I remember correctly, even if they didn't pay the ransomware, I think like the cost to them was like $136 million or something, because the guests couldn't get into their hotel rooms, let alone, of course, all the casinos. And the way it was breached, I think, was also like human error. You know, it was because the zero trust, they like the employee called, so they got some user credentials and voila, they were in. So yeah, I mean, it happens to everyone.
Unfortunately, that's going to get much worse because now with deep fakes being much easier to do, you don't have to be technical. Ransomware, ransomware as a service, you don't have to be technical. You can be completely computer illiterate and still have a, massive ransomware campaign to make money.
Actually, there are now companies that are ransomware as a service.
Yes, no, that's exactly on the dark web and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So anybody can hire a developer, and they're going to have customer service, and they're going to have a call center that's going to take your call and help tweak the ransomware. So that's a problem.
I like to say the hackers or these bad actors, they are the best entrepreneurs because the return on investments is so huge. Technology to fish and do all kinds of these type of things is so cheap. It's available at scale. So, these are really the best entrepreneurs. Like they have their own P&L. This is not a 16-year-old boy in a room anymore. Like they have organizations, they have VoIP consultants, they have negotiators. So this is the type of criminal organizations we are running against now,
Well, a lot of them are nation states as well.
Yeah.
So, you've got, I think the FBI director had said that China has more hackers trying to steal data from the West than the whole Western world has developers.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's, so you're talking about nation states, China, Korea, or North Korea, Iran,
Russia.
Russia. There used to be a bunch in the Ukraine, but they're busy right now.
Yeah.
But those weren't nation states; those were individual entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But when you have governments that are funding this, it becomes a lot scarier.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a good conversation. So let me ask you, right? One of the things I do like asking to our partners. So what was it that made you choose Timus? And then how do you find us as a partner, and how we're going to evolve together, I guess, because we only win, obviously, as an MSP only vendor when our partners win, or a channel only vendor. So how do you see that relationship evolving? And, also why did you choose us?
I believe I met you guys at, I don't remember if it was an ASCII event or exchange or something like that. It was probably ASCII event. And I started the conversation, and initially, I mean, that was very early for you guys. You guys were just, it was very, very early, and we decided to take a look and play with it internally. My biggest problem with other VPN solutions, one, just you guys are a little bit more advanced, but some of the commercial ones like NordVPN and some of these things, they're not really meant for, we can't manage it for our clients. And I would find that when I used it when I was traveling, I couldn't log into my bank, I couldn't log into things because those are known entities and they're blocked by a lot of vendors. So then we tried a commercial, bigger commercial one. And what I found is anytime I needed it, it was disconnected. And so I would be I would connect, I'd log into the bank, and I'd notice it was disconnected and there was no notice. And that was the first thing I mentioned to your folks, that my number one thing when I'm traveling, if it disconnects at any point, it's a deal ender for me.
Yeah.
And they said, nope, it's not going to do that. And that was true. So every single time I've needed it, it's been functioning and working.
Yeah.
And to me, that's important. There's been some little hiccups along the way, but your support has been, my partner, Ben, has been working with your support folks, and he has only positive things to say.
Amazing.
And he's not shy about saying negative things. So, so that speaks volumes.
Thanks for saying that, Leo. I mean, just my own experience. Obviously, as a company, we also use Timus, and I like saying this, but as a lay person, so I've been in sales, general management for a long time, so I travel a lot for work. I go to a lot of conferences. I'm usually at airports, in hotel rooms, in public Wi-Fi. So it's one of those things, like, you don't know what you're missing until you have it. Now, like, having this secure, always on connectivity, completely seamless, it just is in the background on my laptop. I mean, it's a game changer, like, now I know I can trust it. It verifies the heck out of whoever is trying to get into Timus, especially as a security company. It's very important for us to take it seriously. It's like a peace of mind, more than anything.
Absolutely. No, and one of our longtime clients had a major breach, but they're a larger company. They have an IT staff. We don't manage their day-to-day infrastructure, and they were one of the first clients that we went with Timus for, because they had multiple locations around the country, plus people connecting remotely, and VPN really can be a problem unless it is more of a network zero trust.
Yeah.
So we've already been doing application zero trust, but application zero trust only works if it's properly managed, and if you don't leave machines in learning mode that learn malware, then approve it for the whole rest of the network, things like that. So that those kinds of mistakes can be made at any point. Anybody can make those mistakes, and so having something else that prevents bad data or bad actors, whether they're Oscar-winning bad actors or ones offshore trying to get into our systems, preventing those people from just because they got into one machine, we don't want them to have access to everything else.
Exactly, the segmentation part of it, right? Like reducing the blast radius. Leo, this was so much fun. Thanks so much for your time. Yeah, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, and we look forward to doing a lot more with Timus.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.